y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a legendary journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would really appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You can find me, the Cryptid Huntress, at thecryptidhuntress.com. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress. You can also shop with War Woman Goods. That is on Etsy, and that's my shop. All right, I want to thank Bubblefoot for that amazing intro music. Thank you very much. We have an amazing guest for you guys tonight. On Spaced Out Radio, we have Stacy Brown of Outcast Paranormal. So after the show, you guys be sure to go check out After Hours. They are going to be waiting to go with an amazing show there. So y'all tune in, okay? Now let's get to our guest tonight. Stacy Brown is a filmmaker and skunk ape researcher from North Florida, best known for his video footage of the skunk ape in 2011, which is considered one of the best pieces of visual evidence of a skunk ape. He's featured on Finding Bigfoot, Strange Evidence, Small Town Monsters, Travel Channel, Spike TV's $10 million Bigfoot Bounty, where he was awarded the $100,000 research grant. His film documentary, The Skunk Ape Lives, was released in 2019, and his most recent project, The Skunk Ape Experiments, premiered this year. His research team, Outcast Paranormal, experiments with fringe technology, magic rituals, and supernatural cases. So let's get to our guest tonight, Mr. Bigfoot Stacy himself, Stacy Brown. Hey, Stacy.
What's up?
Thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I know you have an early morning tomorrow because you are on location, right?
We're close enough to location.
Yeah. Tell us where you're at.
We're in Rhode Island right now. And we're staying at RPG's family's house, which is a farmhouse, and we just found out today that it's haunted.
Ooh.
So we're going to do a little bit of ghost hunting after this for maybe an hour, but we got to get up early and go to the Conjuring House, which will be our home for the next week. And
nice.
Making our next set of Outcast films. Films 4 through 6 will be... we'll shoot there. So
nice. Well, for anyone in the audience who hasn't checked out his YouTube channel yet and all of your amazing videos, go to Bigfoot Stacy on YouTube, and you guys please check him out and subscribe. And you have some amazing videos, Stacy. And not only you have amazing videos, you have some films that you make. You are quite a creative mind, okay? And you are mixing your film expertise with your Bigfooting. Okay, now tell me exactly how you got into doing film, like filming Bigfoot, and what got you interested in the skunk ape.
So I guess Unsolved Mysteries really piqued my interest. They had a Dave Shealy on with his footage, and it was one of those things, you know. It was like, wow, these Bigfoot creatures are here, and so that made the adventurer in me, you know, want to look for the skunk ape. And I never really took it seriously till I had an encounter, and then went all in. But the filmmaking comes from that time, like after my initial, you know, obsession with the skunk ape. My dad went to film school up in Atlanta, and he was always talking to me about it and stuff. So I was that kid that read the morning announcements, you know, in 5th grade. And then I was in the AV class and the TV production and all that. But then I went deep into like music, and then just ended up coming back to it, you know, because it's fun, you know. I enjoy it. It's art. I'm not somebody who's going to be able to sit down and write a book or even read a book for that matter. But I can do a film.
Yeah, you know what? You just absolutely brought up like flashes and flashbacks when I was in high school, because I was in mass media class, and my friends and I used to get passes to leave the high school to go film on
Mhm.
location, and we always did haunted locations, and we would do a show at the end of the week on Fridays, and it had to do with fortune tellers and Pigman's house and all this weird haunted stuff, local lore and legend. So did you ever do stuff like that? Did you touch on anything that was paranormal back then?
No,
No?
no, I was more marijuana comedy based.
Okay. Fair enough.
So it was like
Fair enough.
Cheech and Chong,
Yeah.
and that was our end of the year project. We made like a 5-minute film, and it was like us smoking dope and fighting
Oh
against space
gosh.
aliens. So
Oh, very, very interesting.
very
Okay. Well, we
inappropriate
all
for
had our
high school, I
angles.
guess. You know,
You know what? Yes. Most people wouldn't put that on film. They might do it, but not put it on film.
we
Okay.
did all
But
kinds of shit. Like Jackass was a major influence, and then
okay.
Tom Green. So we were doing like stunts, and like my best friend could have this talent where he could suck air up his butt and like make animal calls with his butt.
Oh my gosh.
So he had a
Yeah.
name, and like we set this segment up to where we were going to get booked on the local rock radio station. And then we were going to
And
tell the drama
then
teacher that it was my band that was on the program, so all the kids could come and listen to it. Well, all the kids came and listened to it, and it was my buddy doing animal calls with his butt on
so
the Clear Channel
oh,
radio station.
okay. So I get that you've been cutting edge for many years, right? With your
Yeah.
research. Okay, so cutting edge. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So, but so now you and your team, Outcast Paranormal, you are actually doing really cutting edge experiments, and you guys are into magic rituals and into fringe technology. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the paranormal, the cryptids, we all kind of have this belief that it's all connected in some way. And then when you look at
Yeah.
like uh the the research that's done the last 60 years, it's all the same. You know, it's like we got in this rut, and we're riding this rut for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
nothing's ever changing. We're never gaining any momentum, and so we're just trying to beef up normal things. The like psychedelic side of it,
Mhm.
because it's all in our mind, for the most part. Like this whole reality is just a projection in our mind, and
Right.
we're trying to just tap into things because, like, I mean, why not? What is it going to hurt? Like, because you guys are obviously holding down that end of it and doing the same thing
Yeah.
over and over and over and over again. So, hey, let us
Yeah.
do something different. Maybe we'll have something that we can get some momentum, because there's no there's no real progress being made.
Mhm.
But like one of the things we're trying at the Conjuring House, because we're going into the Conjuring House with a very different look than everybody else does. Everybody else always
Okay.
pays attention to the ghost side of it. We're going in there. Maybe it's an interdimensional portal, because there's been Bigfoot sightings on the property. There's been UFO sightings on the property. Maybe all that stuff is just like a Skinwalker Ranch type place.
That's
Uh,
interesting that you said that, because you actually asked me to remote view that Conjuring House.
I did.
If you want to talk about that tonight, we can kind of talk about it, because that just sparked a little memory, and it is that in my remote viewing data there were portals and dimensions. There is a portal there, and there are interdimensional beings coming in and out of it.
And we're trying to contact them. So,
Yeah.
like, one of these experiments we're doing is an old Nazi experiment from World War II.
Oh, okay, let's talk about it.
Because they
I
were
want to
very
hear
much
about
into
that.
the occult. They
Okay.
were very much into time travel and trying to open portals to another world.
Okay.
And the CIA then touched back on it in, I believe, the 60s. So we're going to do it. You know, Jay Prather,
Okay.
he's a tech guy, builds a lot of tech for all these shows that you watch, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Brothers, all that stuff.
Okay.
And he's joined our team. He's building our tech. We got some brand new tech nobody's ever used. Nobody's maybe have even thought of. You know, so we're definitely trying to do something groundbreaking. Whether it works or not, we don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Rituals have been done for centuries. I mean, since the beginning of time, right? And it's kind of, it is fringe. You know, you use that word in the description of Outcast Paranormal. It's fringe science and fringe technologies, and I can absolutely appreciate that because the things that we, especially the shows that we see on TV. You know, I don't have cable. I don't really watch a whole lot of those Bigfooting shows, but they all seem kind of cookie cutter, in my opinion.
They are.
No shade, you guys, but I'm just saying, it's just all people going out in the woods and hearing things and never finding anything. Okay, well, that's not really how it is in my life because that's not my reality. You know, we're out there, boots on the ground, just like you, Stacy, and we actually do get a lot of activity, and we don't put it on television. At least my team doesn't. But you know, I love it. As soon as I picked up on that you and your team were doing kind of rituals and doing things to almost like conjure, you know, some cryptids, I knew I needed to talk to you and bring you on the show because this is something that is cutting edge, and it is something, it's cutting edge for today, but it's actually goes way back for centuries. Okay. Right.
You know, at some point this was frowned upon. This started being frowned upon for whatever reason, even though it was the normal way. So like it would be all of a sudden they're frowning upon oil usage, but everything we have is basically made of it, plastics. We run off of it. It heats our homes, our lights, all that. So it's
I think there's an agenda. Maybe is there an agenda going on here?
You know, maybe because
maybe so.
Let me tell you, the most powerful people on the planet are still doing these. They're still doing these rituals. They're just not wanting us to dabble with it for some reason or another. And
I agree with that.
Yes, and that bothers me, you know. So like we want to get in on it, see if we can do it, and we've done them, and some of the experiences are very profound. You know what I mean? But you have to be bored with this existence, I guess.
And open-minded, right?
Right. You know, I mean, now it's just, and I guess that's open-mindedness, but for me, it's just being bored with this. I feel like sometimes I should not even be doing this. Like I should be just like, I'm not for this kind of thing. You know, like I don't feel like I'm stuck in this meat suit, you know, and it's really, this kind of spices up the normal mundane life, you know, the just to get up and go. And
I can appreciate that.
I'm so curious about what comes next. That I'm like willing to do things that may let me find that out quicker than others, you know. But it's real. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to explain, but like proof of something like that is like if we can actually open a physical portal that we can see and then maybe go into it, see what happens, see what's on the other side, see if we could come back, you know. Maybe not. If we can't, hey, what was we gonna do anyways?
You know, my team has actually documented a portal, and we sent 2 team members inside of it, and they both came out and have talked about it. One of them has passed away since. They both actually got really bad health problems after the portal incident with a nice dose of radiation. And but Bob Grumpy Wilson, he might be in the chat tonight. I don't know. He usually is, so we'll see. But they actually got out of it before it shrunk down and it moved and it disappeared. So when it comes to portals, that's a little scary, and what you're doing is a little scary. Do you ever feel like you're in harm's way or putting yourself in harm's way doing this?
No. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Like, does anybody actually think about how dangerous it is to get in a motor vehicle and drive to McDonald's?
Yeah.
I don't see what I'm doing that dangerous as to that, because like chances are that's what's going to get you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it comes down to not living in fear. Right.
I guess.
And it's when you go out on a limb and you explore new things and, you take a leap of faith into something you don't know anything about. I mean, I encourage people every day to please go do something that scares the hell out of you. Okay. Because it's going to change your life. All right. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing.
Well, everybody's got their own reasons. They're all very personal for what the people are in it for. To me, I've got my own reasons that nobody else shares. So I can't speak for everybody, but everybody's in on it. They're like, yeah, it's some cool shit, dude. And I'm kind of addicted to it.
Yeah.
So like, my bigger issue is like, I'm away from home right now and I can't stand it. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like to travel anymore. I don't like to go anywhere. I get this anxiety. Like, I guess it's like it used to really bother me when I was a commercial fisherman, like being 100 miles offshore and having literally no contact with anybody. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what's happening to your loved ones on land. And it's like that. Like me being away, like I'm in Rhode Island right now. My family's in Florida. It's like, fuck, man. I don't like that feeling.
I feel
you.
Then
again, also never leave my house unless I'm doing something with, friends or family.
Yeah. So. I'm the same way. I feel like I have to protect my energy everywhere I go now because, I think I've come to a good place where I'm kind of healed and I'm feeling good about myself, and it's just being in this little bubble and protecting ourselves. It's actually become something I'm more comfortable with in my older age. Okay. Not that I'm old and everything, but you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I would like to know, like when you film these things, you have two films that I know of. Okay. And one is the Skunk Ape Lives. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then you have the Skunk Ape Experiment that just premiered, right? And has it come out yet? I know you premiered it at the festival.
We did do a screening, but we just like there was a shopping process. Some networks were looking at it, and we didn't really want to go with a network. We actually took a distribution deal over, a network because the distribution deal, you stay independent, you're allowed to do your own things. We cuss a lot. Some of us smoke, and we want to include that. We want you to actually feel like you're there with us and what it would be like. Most of the jokes we do cut out. Like some of the
you
jokes.
got an editor, huh?
Yeah, some of the jokes between us just don't need to make camera, I guess. But we try to stay true to it, not like we're trying to be your hero. I mean, we're not trying to be no paranormal superstar. Like, we enjoy making films, and we also enjoy this. So we combine the two. Let's go make it. People are liking it, and like when we premiered the Skunk Ape experiments at the Bigfoot conference there in Florida, there's a lot of people in there to see something they had never even. They don't know what Outcast Paranormal is at this point. So it was pretty cool. And the response, there was some people that left during the thing, but there's a warning at the end because the chant at the end of it, the last experiment was designed to make the viewer an experiment as well. So it's this Aleister Crowley chant that's getting going to open a portal, and within hopes that we can get like 12 to 20 million people to watch this and maybe thin the veil a little bit.
Oh, Stacy, I don't know about
there's a
that. Hold
warning that
on. Wait a
says,
second.
yeah, there's a
That
warning
makes
that
me
says,
uncomfortable thinking about that. We'll
huh?
talk about it. We'll talk about it. I don't know. That
Okay.
makes me uncomfortable thinking about that.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a warning. There's a warning that
Is it
states
wait,
it.
do you do the warning before you chant or
Yes.
after?
Yes.
Okay. As
And
long as
so
it's
we
before,
had like
that's
five
okay.
we had like five older ladies leave.
Yeah.
But and it
I
clearly
mean,
states.
that's pretty deep right there, you know. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate your, your creativity and all this and actually allowing people to be part of your experiment. I think I would be a little bit, I'd be a little more reserved about like wanting to stick around for that because I understand portals opening and attachments and all that kind of stuff. So that would make me a little uncomfortable. Honestly, I've watched Ghost Adventures, not to name names, but shows like that where they start doing chanting and opening up things like on the Goatman's Bridge. And I muted it. I turned the volume off because I felt like there was something that was going to open up in my home. Okay, when I was watching it. So as long as you're warning everybody, okay,
It's there. You can
it's
mute
it's
it
a good thing.
if
Yeah,
you
you can
mute
mute
it.
it.
Like Survivor Man, he muted it until then because he's like our editor chief, so he gives a final pass on our films, like edit wise, what we should do.
Yeah.
And he muted it till there. He didn't, but it's really cool imagery at that point, too, because it's like a really artsy edit. It's really cool, but
Yeah.
the warning's there. Turn it off. You don't want to watch it from this point on. This is what we're about to do. If you decide to watch it, you become part of
Yes.
the experiment.
Ah, okay. So you get the option.
Clearly
I
state.
can totally appreciate that.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
didn't want to throw it up on nobody because it's not right.
Right. It ain't
Just to
right.
throw it
It
up
ain't
on
right.
somebody. But
Right. Now, have
and
you had anybody complain about that and say, oh, I think something followed me home or something like that?
we have,
Yeah, you have.
uh,
Yeah.
I don't want to name his name, but he's
Hmm.
called us and told us that this is showing up in his life every day now. These things, and
Yeah.
you know, uh, it, it's kind of it's cool, because that was the thing. We want everybody to have an experience. Like, y'all want to go experience paranormal.
Yeah.
Then what are you doing? If you're not actually trying to do it. But it's most people are like, yeah, that was the coolest shit I've ever seen. You know what I
Coolest they've
mean?
ever. Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I definitely saw the trailer to your latest project. I didn't watch. I haven't been able to watch it yet. You haven't. Have you? You haven't. It's not released. I mean, where I
no,
could
it
watch
comes
it.
out because we
Yeah.
literally just signed that distribution deal. So it's about into July, 1st of August that it's going to drop.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
it'll be out then. It's going to be everywhere. So
Well, I hope that you guys have great success with that, and I'm excited. I like covering all the bases here. It doesn't mean that I totally would go out and do it myself, but it is interesting to see every side to it, and that's what I like to do on this show is kind of just put it all out there, Stacy. So that's why I wanted to bring you on tonight. I think it's cool that you guys are doing this, and I also think it's cool that you live in the area where I used to vacation as a kid. Okay. And Wakulla County. Okay. And around that
yeah,
area. And on your YouTube channel, you have actually um, interviewed a sheriff's deputy from Wakulla County. And let me give you a little background on this. Okay. So my dad had a little getaway. We're just gonna call it a single wide trailer, okay, down there in Oyster Bay when I was a kid, and we used to go spend our summers down there where all the alligators hung out in the canal. And my parents would take us to go swim with alligators in Wakulla Springs when I was a kid, and that's right down the road from where you live, right?
that's like 15 minutes.
Yeah. So I had no idea that there were skunk apes back then. This was in the 1980s. Okay, so y'all know how old I am now. But yeah, it was in the 80s and the 90s. I had never heard of a skunk ape before back then. But you have an amazing, huge amount of interviews of people who've experienced that down there. So Tell me some of your crazier stories that you've heard from the interviews you've done, and maybe some of your own stories. Tell me one or two.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess let me think on craziest for 1 second. Um,
You got to think about it because
I
there's a
mean, well,
lot, right?
there's the instances where they come in the house.
Not cool. Not cool. I
Not
heard one of those
cool.
stories.
You know what I
Not
mean?
cool.
Like
No, you
not
can open the
cool.
door. Uh-uh.
There's one that there's one where a lady's cooking a ham, and when she takes the ham out, she turns around and it's standing there and takes the ham from her, burns its hands, drops the ham, starts screaming, picks the ham back up, and runs out. Now, this had the cops all over the place looking for this thing. Right.
Okay.
You know, so
It was going ham. Just kidding.
yeah, that's probably one of the crazier
Going
ones.
ham.
You know what I mean? Just coming up in the house. So
Yeah. No, I'm not cool with them coming in the house. I mean, yeah, I don't
I mean,
know, Stacy.
there's a lot of long term. You know, people
Mhm.
have stuff on the property for a long time. And I think maybe sometimes they turn it into a scary thing, but maybe it
Mhm.
wasn't. Maybe it was just a sighting. It was standing there looking at them, but the way their mind processed it, you know, it was, oh my God, this thing is like about to kill us. So they're running off.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think the home invasion ones, the coming home, there was another one where the thing came in the house and peed in the lady's bed
Oh
and
my
then left
gosh,
the
that
house.
happened
Yeah,
while
and
she
just
was there or not home?
she wasn't home. She came home. There's just piss all over her bed. No
How
animals.
does she know that a skunk ape did that? I'm just
I
wondering.
guess the way the house was like kind of trashed as
Yeah.
something big walked through, you know. But that's how she took it. So once again, you know, how can you have to take all this with a grain of salt, but it definitely a weirder report, you know. And she was
Yeah.
like, I think that was that special
That's
time of the
wild.
month for her,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
you know, and kind of maybe marking its territory.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty terrifying. Yeah. About what size is a skunk ape? What is the average size? Like if you were to give an average height and weight of a skunk ape, what would you say that would be?
About 700 or 7 feet and probably 400 pounds, 400, maybe 500. You don't get a lot of reports of the huge Sasquatch, but you also don't get this like small creature. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You still get a very much a Bigfoot like creature. But the weather's different here, so you don't have such a girthy animal, things like that, you know.
Yeah. They do seem a little more lanky and a little skinnier than a lot of them and with the longer hair. Now, I know this is not your picture, Stacy, but I do have a picture for the audience of the Mayaka skunk ape. Okay? So, do you know about this and can you talk about it cuz I know that you are the skunk ape specialist.
Okay, so I think this is 100% fabrication.
You do.
Yeah, if
Tell
you
me
look
about
there, it looks
that.
very, very orangutan in the face, and this is not a lot of the sightings I get look like this. You know what I mean? Some of them you do,
Yeah.
and I think that's influenced from this picture. But these pictures showed up at the Sarasota County Police Office
Wow.
anonymously,
Yeah.
and the BFRO for a while had a thing where they were saying it was from a petting zoo there in Sarasota that a guy. This was like as you walk through the Florida section. This is that part of the exhibit. Um,
Whoa.
you know, but then again, I had a guy call me last year telling me that this was from his family, and there was actual
Okay.
video of the thing.
Yeah, it's
That
it's
never
almost
came to
kinda
be. That
yeah?
never came to be nothing. You know, I tried to keep up contact with the guy, but it just never panned out. But I did get that call, so I believe it's fake. Just based on the reports that I get, don't really match that animal.
Okay.
You know, the coat's really thick.
It is.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And like the one I saw didn't look anything like that.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting. That's but I also have seen on your YouTube channel, you also were I'm not going to say arguing, but you were debating whether the Patterson Gimlet film was real and that was a real Sasquatch there. So, and a lot of people, I mean, that is the go-to Bigfoot, right? So that was an interesting conversation, actually.
Well, I don't believe it's real. It may be.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Looks like a suit to me. There's no butt crack. There's so many things wrong with this creature.
You're checking out her butt. I'm just
well,
kidding.
I mean, but if you look at
kidding.
any primate or bipedal animal, it's got those muscles there, and there's really nothing there. And then it just breaks all the behavior that we know of these creatures. Like if these things walked out in the open all the time, they'd be gunned down. At some point, somebody'd shoot the damn thing. If it wasn't me, you know what I mean? Like, because there was a time where we really spent a lot of effort and a lot of money trying to kill one. Is what it is. I'm not against it. Science wants it, and people want to prove the existence of these things so we can possibly protect them or, make sure they have what they need. And that's part of it. It's an unfortunate part of it, but it is. But I'm a realist, Would it bother me? Yeah, it probably would bother me. To some degree, but I'm not no monster that's looking to go around and just murder something. Matter of fact, I actually bought with some of my research grant the best dart gun on the planet at the time. I bought that just so we could, video with the thermal scope, shoot the thing on the video, and then have the DNA and hopefully prove it like that. But there was definitely plans where things were tried to kill one.
Yeah. My guest last night, Fred in Alaska, he was talking about how he'd shot one or two of these because they're actually more violent up in Alaska. Apparently, a lot of them. And it's a touchy subject, Stacy. It's very touchy.
Everything's a touchy subject. You know what I mean?
It's everything touchy these days.
If you read in the comments, it's like, why would you try to prove demons? Where was it at? Let me find it. But like when you're performing magic, okay, it's not always demonic, like angel magic. And when you're looking at it, like angels for the most part are just as bad as demons. You know what I mean? Like the angel, when you're doing angel magic and you learn about that, those guys, I don't know what preconceived notion you have of angels, but the books don't say this. They don't represent this, oh, it was an angel. That whole thought of putting this thing up on a pedestal. Satan was an angel, right?
Well, it's all about perspective, and everybody's got a different perspective on everything. And it's all about how you were raised and what you've learned and, societal norms and all that kind of stuff. And I understand you're breaking out of that, and you're very cutting edge and you think outside the box. Okay. And I like to think I think outside of the box. I like to see every angle. And that's why I love this show where I can bring somebody on that has a little information about every different angle. Okay. So we're just exploring this tonight, everybody. Please don't be offended, everyone in the chat tonight. Okay. We're just in here having fun, talking about ways
but it's like
research the skunk ape.
With the thing, it's like people are afraid to step out and try to prove this. Now, I think in like 100 years, this will all be out. You know what I mean? We'll understand everything a little bit better, and maybe we'll understand energies and stuff more than we do now. Because when you hear people, like you got to know it. You talk about this stuff, like the public views us all as nuts.
Yeah.
Like whether you're in the ape camp for Bigfoot or you're in the woo camp, they think you're crazy either way. Yes,
I didn't even know what woo camp was until I came on this show and started hosting at Spaced Out Radio. Now I know what woo is. Woo is me. Woo is me. Okay. So wow.
So it's like these people get into this and then they try to stay as mostly conservative as they can.
Yes,
They don't want to
that's
push
right.
no buttons. They don't want to step outside the norms. And I mean, like, hey, if you want to do that, like I said, go right ahead. I have no
Yeah,
problem with it. Shouldn't have a problem with what I'm doing. I'm not trying to like
right.
worship Satan or anything, like drink
Yeah,
kids' blood or something. But it's like we're just trying to get proof a different way. Like,
yes.
what if we could actually get somebody possessed and prove that? Like, document the whole thing. Like, document if we had a volunteer, because this is a discussion that's came up. Try to get
Hmm.
somebody possessed and document that from start to finish. You
Yeah,
know, and you know, maybe there's something we could learn. Maybe we can gain from it, where we would, because how many mentally ill people are probably actually demon possessed?
I
But we don't
mean,
step into that.
that's the
We don't
point.
try to learn that, and then maybe there's signs you can tell that, hey, he's
Yeah,
not really mentally ill. He's not schizophrenic all of a sudden. This dude's actually seeing that shit. We
yeah.
need to get him some other type of help. Some things
True.
like that. Like, there's a positive, there's a silver lining almost to everything, you know, if you
Yeah,
look at it. And I understand how some of the things can be viewed as bad.
yeah.
Like I said, there was this whole, like, if you mention you are an occultist, that's terrible. You're
To some
worshiping
people,
Satan, you're doing all
right.
this with demons. And no, that's not the case at all. I'm just trying a different type of spirituality.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not the norm. But this used to be the norm back in the day.
it did. It
You
was the
know, so
norm.
like
Yeah, in some
our
cultures.
exactly. It's just it's almost been like vilified on purpose.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've got the aspects to it though. When you're working with magic with a K, okay, we've got, you know, people think about Aleister Crowley, okay, and they think about how he used psychedelics and hallucinogenics, okay. So, is that something that you've experienced or experimented with in your team? I mean, you know, a lot of people back in college have, you know, maybe eaten some mushrooms or done something like that to expand their minds. I mean, is that something that gets results when you're out in the field doing Bigfoot research?
It
Or do you know
does,
anything
but
about it?
you know, I myself am usually in a position of where I'm having to make sure shit gets done. So I don't do
Yeah,
these things.
yeah.
But we've done DMT in investigations, psilocybin in investigations. And, you know, a lot of time it can be something to back up the witness, right?
Okay.
Like, the witness is experiencing this, and now you just smoked DMT and sat down here and you're seeing all these things he's talking about.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're interacting with beings that, as far as you know, are actually there. You know what I mean? And then you're
Yeah,
coming out, and then somebody else can do it too. Like, you can have 3 or 4 people do it, and they all have a, yeah, hey, we've seen a portal-ish thing right there. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
maybe there's something to it. Once again, it comes down to the, hey, nobody else is doing it, and what everybody else is doing is just becoming a hobby at this point, because y'all aren't actually proving anything. We got evidence. We got evidence. We don't know anything else. We don't have a film of a Sasquatch doing what Sasquatch do. We always have this fleeting glimpse, and we melt
yeah,
down over it. Oh yeah. Oh, this footage is so great. Blah blah blah. Like, but we ain't learning shit from none of this. Okay, cool. You got an EVP. Let's try to explain it. What could it be? How do we need to maybe get on this level? You know what I mean? So maybe that's where some psychedelics would come in. But the problem with the hallucinogens and stuff is that it's always a personal experience. It's never nothing you're going to be able to show somebody.
yeah.
You have to be there and experience it too. But maybe we can
Right,
open it up, open the lines of communication for that, to where people are like, okay, hey, listen, I don't have to be a fucking junkie.
right.
You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah,
every time we're doing these things, there's like a medical staff.
yeah.
So
Okay.
it clearly says at the beginning of our film, do not attempt these on your own. You could die.
Have an RN or a nurse on the team. You know,
Yes. You
we
know,
have plenty of paramedics on my team, but we have never actually done psychedelics or anything like that. That's just not something on the agenda with my teams. and so that's why I enjoy talking to other people who have tried that before, because, my team is all trained in remote viewing. Okay. That's our big thing. And so we're able to look at things that may not have been seen otherwise, without remote viewing things. So, I just like looking into it, and I really appreciate what you have to say about it. Now, do you think that you've ever conjured something through a portal? Have you ever opened up a portal and brought entities out in cryptids, for instance? Is that something you've done?
Yeah. Me and Bill Brock did. It was really the first time we were messing with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in the TNT area in West Virginia. We were looking for the Mothman.
Oh,
And
nice.
this Aleister
Okay.
Crowley, him to pan, and
Yeah.
actually had insane stuff happen. So there was like a voice that came in my head. This huge door slammed. Like, this door was like 600 pounds, a blast door. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't going to slam by the wind.
Okay.
And it was really profound, because then the next night we went to a different place, and I straight up heard Bill say something he claims he never said. And then we watched the video and he never said it, but it made me so angry. I had to get away from him.
Yeah.
Like, I was so mad. And so I had to step away from him. And then we get across the spirit box, close the portal, and we're like, oh my God, we never closed the portal, because we knew what the hell we're doing. We still don't know what the hell we're doing. We're winging.
How dangerous is that? I mean, that could be very dangerous, right?
I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, half of this shit is just like a dog chasing a tire. You're just going. You don't really know what you're going to do when you get the tire.
So you're saying you're experimenting, right, Stacy?
Experimenting. Fire's hot.
Yeah.
Water's good. Things like that. So, yeah, that's what kind of turned us on to it, and it's been a road, but it's not nothing. It's not nothing mean spirited. It's not nothing more than trying to find out proof of a bigger existence than what I know.
Just do what you will, but harm none, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And just at the end of the day, have fun with it. And maybe we can catch some cool shit, and maybe other people can experience it. Like, I did this with a group that came out with me on one of my trips I had, and there was literally stuff flying around the room.
Oh, like psychokinetic stuff going on?
I have no idea, but there was like objects flying around the room. We had to get out of the room.
Wow.
Because there were kids
oh my
there.
Gosh.
But all these people were like okay with it. And
you said they're okay with it?
I think Matt Williamson was there.
Supernatural Spectrum, right?
Yeah.
He's coming on the show next month. There. Hey, Matt.
It was really and so he ended up going back there in his new film he made. He went back to the Tatum house there at Crowley, and just he had some cool stuff he caught there himself, but like, I'll do these things and like lights will appear. Like, it ain't bullshit. Like, we can go out there and knock on trees if you want, or work with an EMF meter. Isn't that boring?
I agree with you 100%, Stacy. Okay, I understand, and and honestly, my team doesn't really knock on trees, and we don't do all the stuff you see on TV. Okay, so we're doing other stuff, and in my experience, I'm not out there to prove anything to anyone. I'm out there to observe, but I'm also really not out there to conjure things as well, because I think that I naturally do that. I think that some people are able to manifest things without trying, a lot of times. And I'm afraid if I really tried to conjure something, there's no telling what I'd get out there. So I'm a little scared to do that personally.
Right. But, a lot of it.
I respect that you're doing it.
A lot of it's like, it's your intent.
Yeah.
The words you're
Right.
saying, I almost think are useless. I think they don't mean
Yeah.
anything. You could be saying one of 100 things, and as long as your intent to do something is the same, you're going to get the same no matter what the words you're speaking. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think it's your energy that you put into it. And if you had a bad energy when you were putting it into it, you could get bad results.
Yeah.
But a lot of attachments, yes, spirits, yeah, shadows, I guess. But injured, no.
Never
Not
been
yet.
injured.
Knock on
Okay.
wood. But
Good.
this week we're doing a lot of stuff. We're doing a CE5 at the Conjuring House.
Okay.
We're going to redo the seance that the Warrens did 49 years ago.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah. The first paranormal investigator to step foot in that house was Carl Johnson, and he will be there with us.
Oh.
So we're
Yeah.
telling a different side to it.
Yeah.
And we got some really cool experiments. Only
Let
one
me.
with like hallucinogenics.
We're pulling up the picture right now, Stacy. This is the Conjuring House. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about, yeah, that's the Conjuring House. Where Stacy's going tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cool place. I've been there before.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I don't like the Northeast. It's cold. It's cold now. You know, and I don't know. I'm having to tell myself to enjoy this because it's like I'm away from home. The whole film shoots they're stressful. They're fun.
Yeah.
You look back on them and you smile and you laugh, but during the process, it's like, oh my god, I'm going nuts.
Well, do you have things planned? Like, are y'all going to do rituals there? And are you going to try to conjure anything up? Because I know in my data, there are definitely cryptids on the property.
Well, yeah, but we're doing it in a different way.
Okay.
So like I wish I could explain Jay's experiment well, but I really can't. But it's a World War II Nazi experiment. And
Ooh,
it's basically a
okay.
conjure, but it's using frequencies and tones through like a SEPA symbol, which is the pentagram. The pentagram's shown up throughout history, like the Egyptians in their tombs. There'd be a SEPA symbol on the ceiling as like a gateway to the next side. You know what I mean? So like
Uh-huh.
we're positioned throughout the house using gematria, which is like a universal math language. And it's kind of weird and complex. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, but we don't know what's going to happen, but that's to open a portal and call in things to activate the house, because that will be the beginning. One thing we do have a fun segment is something we're calling Scaredy Cats,
Okay.
where we
What's
have
that
a
about?
team of newbies who have never ghost hunted and are absolutely scared of this. They don't know where they're going. They're going to
Okay.
be brought there, and then they're going to have to go in and perform tasks. And
Oh my gosh, that's trial by fire, huh? You're
well,
sending them in the Conjuring House?
they may get newbie luck.
Wait, are you guys? Do they have a cash prize at the end of that?
Their
I'm
family.
just kidding.
Their family, so no cash.
Oh my gosh, I want my money back. Just kidding.
But they,
That's funny.
they may have beginner's luck, but then also
Yeah.
their fear is going to feed that house.
Ooh. Yeah.
And so immediately after that, then we're going to do what we're calling our token ghost hunt, which is your cookie cutter thing. We're going to go in there and do the EVP sessions and all that stuff. And then the next day we'll get into the World Gate, and then the CE5, and then we'll do the seance the last day.
Oh, wow.
So, but like we'll be setting up for like 8 hours, 10 hours to do this shoot that's going to last like 3.
Well, that's how it usually works, right?
It's
Yeah, you're there for a week, you get to get an hour of a show. Okay.
right.
I know how that goes. Yeah. Well, you have a lot on your plate this week. This is going to be a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
you and I have actually researched some of the same places. And I spent a weekend. It was only a weekend up in North Florida at a residential home one time. And I understand you've been there. I was actually asked to keep it confidential when I was there, but according to Connor, Bigfoot Anon, he said that they've already been on Animal Planet and all these other shows. But there was a good bit of activity there, and so it's good to know someone who's done some research at the same places I have. It lends a little more credibility to it, especially the specialist of the skunk ape down there. So
Well, I researched that spot for 7 years, and we're talking like
wow.
weekly. I was out there at least a few 7 days, a month at least. But that's where I had my first encounter.
Yeah.
We did capture footage there, not my dad's, but we captured another piece of thermal footage there, which is on my YouTube. That was the first place I seen lights.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like orbs in the sky, or what kind
Yeah,
of
well,
lights?
like intelligent,
Yeah.
like you could call them and they would land in your hand. Like it was insane. Like it really, it was one of the most unique things, and that's like I didn't start out in the woo,
Okay. It just kind of happened, huh?
It happens, and like you can't go into it. All you Bigfooters out
Yeah.
there, y'all need to quit going into it with a preconceived notion of what these things are. You can have your
Yes.
beliefs, but you need to be open to and looking at these other things, because like Small Town Monsters, we just did a film with them. They come out and they weren't believers in orbs and Bigfoot being
Okay.
coinciding, and we were hearing knocks, and then an orb appeared and they saw it.
Yeah.
You
We
know what I
always see
mean?
orbs out there. Yeah,
And
when
I'm
we're
like,
doing Bigfoot research, I have had UFOs flying over my head. We always have orbs. Orbs are like the most active phenomenon we have out in the woods. We have different colors and sizes and shapes, and it's all connected, in my opinion. How do you feel about that?
oh, for sure, 100%, it's all
Yeah.
connected. At least I've got to look that way, because these
Yeah.
things coincide. When one happens, there's usually lights happening or something paranormal. Like when my dad got his footage, those were new batteries in that camera, and it slap went dead. Boom.
Let's pull
You
that up.
know.
Now, this is this is a still from the footage that your dad got. Am I correct?
Yep. And our camera went dead, and then when we got back to camp, it was good to go. You know. It was just weird. Like, why are our cameras continuing to go dead? Like, this is
Yeah.
happening to all of you. I know it is. It's happened to
Happens
me
to
too
me
much.
all the
Like,
time.
when these
Yeah.
things are present, why do our batteries drain?
You
Oh,
know
we're
what?
not going to look at that because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense now.
I'll tell you what it
It
is,
may
what I
make
think.
sense in 50 years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When we understand our reality better, it may make sense then. Don't discount it now just because it doesn't make sense now. Like, let's go back 200 years.
Yep.
You would have been hung and burned at the stake for being a witch.
Yes.
Whether you are or
Absolutely.
not, that's what they would have considered you. It's what they would have considered me. And we'd be
Yes.
done.
We'd all be burning right now.
Right?
Absolutely. A lot of us Bigfooters out there. Yeah.
And fast forward a few hundred years, now everybody's doing it. Let's fast forward another 100 years. Unfortunately, I won't be there to see it. But
Yeah.
unless I get one of Elon Musk's brain chips. But yeah. Maybe we
Yeah.
understand this. Maybe we know what happens with these things, what they are, where they're coming from. Because, like, I don't know if anybody paid attention, but they just told everybody UFOs are real.
Yeah.
The CIA just released papers saying we're all live inside some kind of energy hologram.
Yeah.
Like, pay attention, people. Like,
Yeah.
they're telling you what's going on. And my question is why now? But everything ain't what it seems. And
Better late than never.
yes, and if you go out there on this level, you'll have more activity. You will have more things happen than if you go out there on that, oh, it's just an ape. I'm going to put this trail camera up and catch him.
Yeah.
Because he's not that smart, right?
It's all about having an open mind, and it's all about being understanding your psychic abilities and being in tune with nature and in tune with everything around you, and to pick up on subtle energies and just to pay attention. Okay. Quit looking at
Yeah.
y'all's phones. Okay. I'm guilty too, but, start paying attention to the world around you. And
Yeah.
it's pretty wondrous.
Well, they say we perceive 3% of this reality.
Yeah.
There's 97% of shit around us that we don't even know what's going on.
I believe that. I absolutely believe that.
Like, can't everybody be lying? This weird shit's happening. Y'all need to pay attention to it and embrace it. And quit calling each other crazy. Because I got news for you. If you're in the ape camp,
you're all crazy.
Bigfoot, the majority of people that don't believe in Bigfoot think you're fucking nuts.
Okay. Well, you know what? Our time is up tonight, Stacy. This went by so fast. I've had so much fun with you tonight, and I have like a million other things I'd love to talk with you about. So I hope you'll come back on the show. Where can people find you right now?
YouTube, Bigfoot Stacy. Skunk Ape Lives there. That's on Les Stroud's channel. But Outcast Paranormal is about to drop. You can check us out on Facebook. We have a group there. It's growing by the day. And it's like a no rules group. You can come in, you can post what you want for the most part. We don't do politics or scams. And you just talk freely, bash people, talk shit, do whatever you want to, and nothing like harassment. But then we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, and we are like a month out from dropping our first short film, because the way our films are going to work, we're going to have one every month. One's going to be a feature film every other month, and then every other month it's going to be a short film. So I got one on the Barden Booger coming.
Oh, nice. You got a bunch of them.
I'm going to drop here in about a month. I'm almost done with that. So as soon as I get done with that, I got to color it, and I'm colorblind. It works out great.
Well, hey, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week at the Conjuring House. Please protect your energy. Okay. And have fun and send us an update. Let me know how you're doing out there. Okay. Because I'm going to be checking in on the Bigfoot Stacy YouTube channel. And Stacy, thank you so much for being here tonight. It has been a pleasure. It really has. And
no problem.
I enjoy your work. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you much. And y'all take care.
Thank you. We'll see you back here soon, hopefully. Okay.
Alrighty.
Y'all have a great week. All right.
Bye-bye.
See you, Stacy. All right, y'all. And that was awesome. Don't forget that right after this show, you can join the crew live after hours. They're going to take you on an incredible journey for the next 3 hours. Next Saturday on Off the Trails, my guest is Evan D. of Occult 45 podcast, and we're going to get into cryptids and interdimensional. So I can't wait to see y'all next week. But for now, I'm the cryptid huntress, Jessica Jones. I'm headed off the trails. After Hours is next. Good night.